Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar from the UK view, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as within the next 24 hours we're all going to be seeing Arctic air returning. Now it isn't going to last all too long and it's not going to be all too severe, but definitely is going to be a shock to the system throughout Friday and through the weekend into the start of next week, with potentially some frosts, some wintry showers in places, and just generally quite a cold feel. As we head into next week, although we see that Arctic air fall away and get replaced by slightly milder air, we still have the jet stream very far to our south, so it's still going to remain cool, but it could be turning incredibly unsettled, as we see from some of the longer range charts, as in this pocket of where the jet stream should be with flat westerly, instead of dropping to our south, in that pocket we could see some real big low pressure systems spin up and could see some incredibly unsettled weather. As I said, stormy conditions are possible. Even if we didn't see anything too stormy, it will still be very horrible with lots of rain around, and of course still relatively cool with us on the north side of the jet stream. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now if you start on the live radar, you can see there is this weather front that is slowly sinking southwards through this evening. It's not a particularly strong weather front, as the temperature gradient immediately to the south and to the north isn't massive, but still it is starting to show that cold air that is starting to move in. This will head southwards overnight and clear most areas by the morning, and then we'll be left with quite a showery northerly to northwesterly wind, with increasingly cold air starting to push in, especially for Scotland. A lot of these showers will start to have wintry flavour over the hills. Now, do put on the 2 metre temperatures, as around 8 PM you can see still pretty mild, quite widely, but mildest in the south and the east. Further northwards and westwards, although it's not incredibly cold at the moment, it will be turning cooler over the coming hours. Temperatures are unlikely to get much above 6 or 7 degrees further northwards through tomorrow and through the subsequent days. Now do have a look at the latest UKV. You can see that weather front moving southwards and eastwards overnight tonight, and into tomorrow afternoon you can see plenty of showers coming in on that northwesterly wind. Even a few wintry showers appearing as well, as said, over the higher ground. As we move into Saturday, still plenty of showers packing in, quite a lot of pink and purples there, indicating some wintriness. It will, as said, mostly be over the higher ground. We can't rule out a few flakes falling to lower lying areas. As we head into Saturday, plenty of showers still packing in from the north to northwesterly flow, and as I said, more wintry showers developing, perhaps more towards England and Wales here through Saturday. And again, you can't rule out some hail, sleet, growlpool, or even a bit of snow to low-lying areas. Saturday looks like a pretty fresh day. Temperatures mid to high single digits at best, which, coming off the back of winter, doesn't sound all too cold, but it is going to be a shock to the system, having since 17, 18 degrees so far this week. As we head into Sunday, that pattern continues, but you can see it does turn slightly drier for the afternoon, so those temperatures will likely be slightly high, could reach the double digits. And then you can see the westerlies starting to push back in, but it's not a mild westerly. This is just low pressure spinning up within the pocket as the jet stream has pushed southwards. And you can see these weather fronts kind of just spiral around, not really clearing and just giving very persistent rain in places. The west is always going to be favoured closer to the centre of the lows, but at this stage it's still very uncertain exactly where we'll see some heavy rain and maybe even some heavy snow over some higher ground. But somewhere next week looks like it's going to be seeing a lot of rain indeed, and I wouldn't be surprised to see weather warnings starting to be issued over the coming days. So not good lead up towards Easter. Fingers crossed things might be a little bit better for the Easter weekend, or at least not as unsettled. But at least the week prior, the week leading up to it, at this stage really does not look particularly good. As you can see, low pressure replacing that with all that precipitation. The air masses are turning slightly milder, but still hovering around freezing or slightly below freezing at 850 HPA, with it still feeling pretty cold outside. If you look at those max temperatures you see this afternoon, still seeing 16, 17 degrees in place in the southeast. And by tomorrow, we could just about get to 10 to 12, but a much colder feel out there, as I said, mid to high single digits at best further northwards. Into Saturday, potentially a frost in many areas further north and westwards. And into Saturday afternoon, temperatures not getting much above 5 to 8 degrees. So really quite fresh and cold there as we do see that Arctic air move in. As we head into Sunday, could again see an overnight frost in places, and again into Sunday afternoon, you see those temperatures slightly higher, 10 to 12 degrees because of the increased sunshine. And then you can see as we head into Monday, again, still pretty fresh as rainfall starts to move in, 7 to maybe 11 degrees, and the same can be said for Tuesday. Again, frosting potentially in some areas. Again, those temperatures still pretty cool. So even though the upper temperatures rise, the surface will still remain relatively cold as that cold air that does get established at the surface through the weekend doesn't get dislodged, and we have lots of rain and cloud moving in, which is going to hold the temperatures down as well. So not looking good into next week. The upper temperatures will increase back towards average, but the surface still is going to feel pretty cold. Now, if you look at the latest GFS, you see westerly winds continuing at the moment, but northerlies arriving through tomorrow into the weekend, turning cool for all. Then you can see the jet stream pushing well to our south in towards Spain and Portugal. And in that pocket, we see a massive area of low pressure replacing it. Really quite stormy conditions could be seen here as this low pressure spins up. As we head into the Easter weekend, you can see the low pressure slowly fills in. So that is the pressure rising and likely will reduce the precipitation, but it still probably will be lower pressure. So unsettled weather remains. Into the longer term, we remain with the jet stream being very amplified, and that means again we can see more low pressure systems moving in and it's sort of abnormally sticking around, and we could see colder northerly or northeasterly flows at times. Of course, we're heading to early April, so the cold air to our north and our east is very quickly running out, but still can pack a punch if the synoptics are right, even into, as I said, mid to early April. Now, if you compare to the GM, see what that's showing over the next 10 days. Again, northerly flow arriving through the weekend, low pressure pushing in. Look at that, really spinning up through Tuesday and Wednesday. Really quite horrible. Into the Easter weekend, pressure is rising, isobars are spreading apart, and you can see that actually into the Easter weekend, yes, we're still generally under lower pressure, but the pressure is rising, isobars spreading out, so we probably will still see cloud and some slow moving showers, but probably less likely to see any massive deluges. But I must emphasize, from around Tuesday, Wednesday, it is pretty horrible indeed, with some very deep low pressure systems there. If we zoom into the United Kingdom, look, you see the pressure getting down to 960, maybe even slightly lower as this system moves in. If we look at the precipitation, lots of rain associated with this, and the cumulative precipitation, see most areas seeing at least an inch or two of rain. So not good at all through next week. Finally, if we compare to the ECMWF, again, northerly winds arriving this weekend, low pressure replacing that into next week. But interestingly, the very deep low stays more out to our west with a bit more of a block over to our north and our northeast. Now, this would still keep us cool, still keep showers around, but we wouldn't see any massive deluges here towards day 10. So that would be a positive for the UK. If we do put on the precipitation, you can. Unfortunately, we can't run it all the way out to day 10 as this run has only just come out. But if we were able to look at it, you would be able to see there is less precipitation over the top of us, more to our west out into the Atlantic. You can see hit by day 5. So ECMWF showing a glimmer of hope that the most unsettled conditions, the most rainy conditions, may just stay out in the North Atlantic. But I must say, majority of runs have it pushing in. ECMWF a little bit anomalous this evening, with a bit more higher pressure holding off those low pressure systems. Now, if you look at the latest ensembles, you can see the big dip in upper air temperatures over the next 24 hours, staying cold through the weekend, and then slowly rising to around average through much of next week into early April. But as I said, into next week, even though those upper air temperatures do rise, the surface is still remaining fairly chilly, as we have plenty of rain and cloud around. Precipitation really spikes in around 5 or 6 days' time, so around that next Tuesday, Wednesday point, so it could be really quite horrible there. And you see that coincides with a big dip in pressure through Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe into Thursday before pressure rises into Friday, Saturday, and beyond. If you look at the 2 meter temperatures, again, cold through the coming days, slowly rising in the longer term, but it could be early April before we see the mid-teens once again. And if we finally do compare to the ECMWF ensembles, look at the midnight run, big drop in upper air temperatures, then trending back towards average, and again, quite a strong consensus of precipitation there through the medium term in around 5 to 7 days' time. Again, operation run a little bit anomalous, but you see the majority are in line with what the GFS and the GM were seeing, which is very unsettled, maybe even stormy conditions arriving next week. So yeah, could be in store for a lot of rain in places as we head towards the Easter weekend. As said, fingers crossed, things do improve for those 2 bank holidays, Bank Holiday Friday and the Monday, but I can't make any promises at this stage. Hopefully though, we do see the weather settling down for then, or at least the pressure rising, those isopods spreading out, and maybe some a reduction in the rainfall. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Make sure to stay tuned. In the coming days, as I suspect, we will see some weather warnings if these models do verify. But I'll see you again for another video soon.